Hola muchachos, estamos aquí otra vez. Vamos a hablar de comparaciones. More comparison statements. In the background, you might be able to hear the Decemberists. And by the way, they always seem to, in their lyrics, sing a little bit about Spain, España. And I'm not sure why. I've never really tried to figure that out. So if you listen to the Decemberists, you might hear them sing about the Andalusian tribe and Valencia, both places in España. So extra credit if you can find out why they always sing about Spain. Interesante. To me, anyway. So let's get back to comparison statements. These expressions with adjectives, okay, you're going to use them to describe or compare things. And remembering that the adjective agrees in gender and number. So if we're going to say taller than, remember we would say, well, who am I describing? If it's yo, I'm a woman. I would say yo soy más alta, because I'm a woman, and singular, que mis amigos. I don't know. Bueno, if I'm as tall as, soy tan alta como. If we are less tall, so shorter, but we'll say less tall, menos, somos menos altas or altos que otras personas. So because essentially these are descriptive sentences, we're using the forms of ser and the adjective agrees, but we're adding the comparison. Okay? Bueno, and you had these examples the other day. But again, since this is essentially a comparison, we've been using the form of ser, because to describe, we use the linking verb ser. Bueno. Moving on. We're going to talk about action verbs for a moment and get away from description. If we were to use hablar, I wrote a sentence here, Felipe habla por teléfono. We have to worry about the subject Felipe, and also what kind of infinitive do you have? AR. So I dropped the AR and added A because the subject is like él. And if you're not sure about endings in AR, ER, IR verbs, Senor Jordan has plenty of videos on them. How about comer? If our subject is nosotros, we eat, nosotros comemos la pizza. So I've changed it to nosotros, ER verb. How about to get dressed? I threw in a reflexive infinitive just for fun because I know how much you like them. It's an IR verb, okay, vestirse, to get dressed. So I decided to write, me visto en la ropa negra. So the yo is missing, I don't need it, but it is the subject of the sentence. I dress myself in black clothes. Okay, now if we're going to make those comparison statements, take a look. We're not using adjectives, we're not using ser, we're not describing. We're just using action verbs to talk about how frequently somebody does something. We can use más que, no adjective, menos que, and tanto como to say if somebody does something more than, less than, or as much as someone else. So here's a sentence. Efraín compra, he buys, right? It's a sentence by itself. If we want to compare how much he buys, how about tanto como Isabel, as much as Isabel. Okay? We're going to take the sentence. Next sentence is my parents go out. Mis padres salen. To add the comparison, we want to say less than my grandma and grandpa. Menos que mis abuelos. Qué triste. Bueno. Remember these? Mejor y peor. This time we won't use the es. Okay, we're going to use them as adverbs. So if maybe Efraín buys better than Isabel, which is a silly sentence, okay, we could use mejor que Isabel. Or if he buys more poorly than Isabel does, Efraín compra peor que Isabel. So we can use these as adverbs if we'd like. Why are they adverbs here, not adjectives anymore? Well, they modify how well or poorly someone buys or someone goes out, the verb. If they modify a verb, that makes them an adverb. Adverbs modify verbs, other adverbs, or adjectives. And when I use the word modify, it's just a tricky term fancy term, I should say, for give you more information about something. Okay? Remember those sentences we wrote in the beginning? Here it is. Felipe habla por teléfono. Felipe talks on the phone. If we make it a comparison, I can leave that sentence. Felipe habla por teléfono más que yo. Okay? So, Felipe talks on the phone more than I do. Comemos la pizza. We eat pizza. Comemos la pizza menos que nuestros padres. So, we eat pizza less than our parents. Less often than. Okay? Here's our sentence about dressing in black. Me visto en la ropa negra. Well, here's a sentence. Me visto en la ropa negra tanto como mi hermana mayor. I dress in black as much as my big sister. As often as you can think of it. Okay, this is really simple and very similar to what we did with adjectives and forms of ser. Only now we're just taking regular old conjugated verbs and comparing how often or how much we do something when compared with another person. Okay? If you have any questions, you can ask in class. Tomorrow in class, let's see. I'm going to add some comparative statements using lavar el carro y preparar la cena. Okay? I don't care how you use them, but sibling 1 or 2 should be washing the car more or less frequently than the other or as much as the other. And preparar la cena, same thing. Maybe someone says, I do it more, I do it less, you do it less, or I do it as often as you do. Okay? All right, be ready to use these statements in class, and I hope you took good notes today. Go back through and make sure you did.